Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to my first impressions of Call of Duty Ghost, and I thought it would be appropriate for a first impressions video to show you my very first gameplay. This is me playing on a map whose name I don't even know yet because I haven't played very much, and I'm using the Honey Badger. It's an assault rifle with a built-in suppressor. It's just kind of built into the weapon. You can't take it off, and I'm using mostly stealth perks. I have Off the Grid, which keeps me off the radar, Dead Silence, Incognito, all these sort of things. I should be hiding, and I chose this because I thought like Black Ops 2, if you could get Ghost early, you could stay off the radar and win. Unfortunately, a lot of other people also chose this, and I learned that the sort of speed perks and the reaction perks like Quick Draw and all that sort of stuff are very much so required to win gunfights. So I had to play very sort of campy, very sort of stealthy, and I did join the game late to a deficit. It put me in a domination match that somebody bounced out on. But let's quit talking about the gameplay and move over to my first impressions of the game. Impression number one, these maps are gigantic. I thought the snow map that I played at the reveal, Whiteout, was large. That's more like a medium-sized map. All of these maps are freaking huge. Each one of these maps would be an extremely large map in Black Ops 2, and they would be regular large maps in any other Call of Duty games. There's one called Stonehaven, which I believe is larger than any map ever in any Call of Duty game that I can think of, because it's so... think like every map is almost the size of Fuel from Modern Warfare 2. They're just massive, lots and lots of flank routes, and while this sounds like a really good thing, that also means it's very difficult to gain map control when you can always be flanked from 4 different directions. And the spawns are a tad wonky. They're, well, especially when you triple cap in domination and stuff, they do have a tendency to flop around. It's very hard to lock down and control an area. I will say that the Xbox 360 version is definitely not as pretty as the Xbox One version that I played. I got spoiled on the Xbox One version, liked it a lot. Well, now I have to come back to 544p graphics instead of 1080 or 720 or whatever it was running on, and a graphical downgrade. So I'm spoiled in that respect. The current gen versions are just not going to be as pretty as next gen, but that was kind of expected. The game feels the most similar to Modern Warfare 2, but if you added a sliding mechanic and maybe the leaning mechanic, though people don't lean a whole lot yet, it's not the most commonly used mechanic, but it feels like Modern Warfare 2 and the fact that you die super fast. That was a game of overpowered weapons where literally everything was overpowered, and this game is kind of the same way. All of the guns are really OP. There's no weak guns that I've noticed yet, and I've been doing gun stats and that sort of stuff. And because the guns are so overpowered, there aren't really any gun fights either. You die very quickly. Most of the times you see yourself getting shot and then you're dead. When just like there I did some hip fire, that's kind of a probabilistic thing and you're missing. But especially people that aren't using silencers or they're using the high damage rifles, once they start shooting at you, you're toast. There's no challenging, there's no turning around, you're just messed up. And like I said earlier, if you want to rush and play aggressively like pros do, you're gonna need the speed perks. I don't have those. I don't aim down sights fast. I don't recover from sprinting fast. I don't have steady aim, so it's very difficult for me to win gunfights. I just got lucky that she was running around and I got to hose her down. You see the dog that's running around? I'm going to say dogs are almost OP. They are very strong kill streaks. They have about 2 to 3 times the health of a person. I'm assuming it's because they wear a vest. And they have their own sort of AI. They don't exactly hunt you. What happens is if somebody engages you, if they shoot at you, the dog targets them. And if the dog sees them, the dog kind of follows you around randomly with a point of view like it looks straight ahead. See there, it didn't see me because I already killed everybody and mopped it up really fast. And there the dog engaged on that person. But what they do have a tendency to do is when you call them in, you kind of like summon them into the map. You point to a direction and whistle and your dog just kind of pops in. And I've had a few people whistle and pop their dogs up really close to me and I get killed. It doesn't happen too often, but it's kind of annoying when it does happen. There were lots of complaints before the game came out about support lethal streaks. The support streaks that you don't have to chain being lethal. And I'll tell you, there goes the dog again, that those fears are mostly unfounded. I've used all of the support lethal streaks and I don't find them to be particularly useful. Not in this gameplay, but in others. I got a Helo sniper and I just wasn't able to kill squat with it. The maps are too big to find a lot of people. The chopper wobbles around a bit. The big rocket launcher you get's kind of goofy. The only thing that I could consider to be OP or awful for the support streak is you get a satellite. You can drop like packages on people and stuff. Here we go. I have a Maniac. This is a Juggernaut with lightweight extreme conditioning and a knife. Your health does not regenerate, so the more damage I take, the more likely I am to be toast forever. So so I have to play kind of stealthy with this one. I'm going to tell you that it's harder to see bad guys due to the sort of color in this game and the way they look. They don't stand out as easily as they do in Black Ops 2. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but you can actually play stealthy and hide in the bushes, and you can also get killed from the bushes. And speaking of things like that, I need to tell you that the Satcoms are quite different from UAVs. One of them isn't going to do your team very much good. It's like a one-time ping and then more like a motion sensor. Two of them is kind of like a UAV. Three is more better. I've only had the advanced UAV or Blackbird once. You have to actually use teamwork and coordinate with your team to throw down the Satcoms on time and get them all doing the same thing. So I tell you, before you just randomly smack one down, ask your teammates if they have one. If they can drop down 2 or 3 at a time, it is so much better than you just randomly dropping yours. The Levolution is somewhat limited. The maps that we played at the reveal were the most Levolutionizing maps. Some of them, like the huge one where the Chem Strike murders everything. A lot of them have smaller Levolution elements. This is going to be good for some people that didn't want their maps changing, bad for others that were expecting big, crazy Battlefield-like moments. I felt a little disappointed. I thought that every map would have something like crazy, huge, gigantic. A lot of them are smaller things, logs, water, gas, something will catch on fire, or the radar will shut down, or something like that. Which, again, I guess it makes sense if you want to have your game to have any sort of sense of order or balance and all the chaos, but it does feel a little bit underwhelming because I was hoping to, like, drop crates on people and knock cranes over, but that kind of sort of didn't happen. This game is over. I'm going to move over to a different game, a free-for-all game, and keep on talking about my first impressions. I thought I did good in my first game, all things considered. There are some other things that are interesting. The balance in the game is, like I said, on the side of OP. Everything drops you really fast, except the shotguns. The shotguns feel a little bit weak sauce. I haven't delved into them too extremely yet. They all have the ability to use slugs and stuff like that, but in general, I found that the shotguns were weaker. Again, some of you are going to love this because you don't like getting killed by shotguns. Some of you are not going to like this because shotguns might have been your favorite weapons. Pistols are very, very strong in this game. You remember the Black Ops pistols that have 2 shots and you're dead for, I don't know, 5-10 feet? They're back. It's not quite the same range as the TAC-45, not quite the same effectiveness, but the range is there for the 2-shot kills. And when you put muzzle brake on it, the range increases. They have, 3, 4, 5-shot kills at a distance. There's a burst pistol, which is kind of like the Raffica or the 93R. I didn't find it to be very useful. It's called the PDW. It doesn't float my boat. The one that you're really going to like is the Magnum, 44 Magnum. It can one-shot drop somebody in a headshot up to maybe like 20 or 30 meters, and within 10 or 15 meters, if you hit them in the chest, it's one shot and done. That's not lower chest, that's not stomach, that's upper chest. That's tits up, you have to hit them, it's a one-shot kill. It's a very slow-firing weapon with high recoil. It's very high skill, high reward, so kind of use at your own risk. The overall feel of this game is that it is very pubs friendly. The game feels like it was designed by a team that wanted to take that sort of public match experience from from Modern Warfare 2 and COD 4, that sort of crazy, zany, out of this world, explosive, over the power, crazy stuff, and remake that, and that's what they kind of did. I've talked to some pro players, and most of them are grumpy Gusses. You can see them on Twitter fussing at Tina and other people in the community. But the maps are designed not to be locked down. The typical Treyarch map was 3 lanes, and it was good that you could have a sort of move, counter move, push, counter move, like a balanced kind of play, but it was also bad because if you played a really good team, they would just lock it down, and well, then you're just up a creek without a paddle. This game, the maps are huge, the spawns are more varied, though unfortunately a little bit wonky right now. I'm playing this pre-release, mind you. And it's very hard to lock down and control an area, especially as the one-man army thing. Like what Black Ops has trained me to do is I am one guy, I can sit in my window and control this lane on the map, whereas in this game you need 2 or 3 people to lock down a zone because of all the flank routes, and this works really good in public matches. It's going to be a lot harder for people to pub stomp like they did in Blops, and you're going to have to go back to those old like Modern Warfare pub stomping skills, but it's tough on the pros. For the pro matches, they're going to have to possibly increase the number of players or be very selective about the maps or the rules and this sort of thing, and it's really chaotic with the kill streaks. Unfortunately, on the Xbox 360 version, there is no ground war yet, which is very disappointing to me. I was so pumped to play ground war, but I think that's they can't populate the maps with this many players and still have the system run. You're going to have to wait until next gen, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and PC, to get that 18-man chaotic ground war experience. I think that's going to make these maps much more fun to play 9v9. It'll be more populated, less campy, it'll be more chaotic. You'll see people getting bigger streaks and stuff. That's really what I'm waiting for. And the last thing I'd like to add in this video is that you need more teamwork here. Call of Duty, by its design, has taught me that I can be a one-man hero in lockdown areas, but I need more callouts. The Satcoms are not as effective as a UAV, and a lot of people run off the grid and dead silence and that sort of stuff. So you need teamwork to call out people and where they are, so you know where they are, so you just don't get shot in the back all the time. Use your mic, do callouts, survive, ask people when you want to throw down all your Satcoms together. And I know I said that was the last thing. There was one other thing I wanted to mention, and this I've said it before from the reveal. Sound whoring is real. It is very easy to sound whore in this game. If you think that you're playing against an opponent with headsets, use dead silence. You can sound whore about a third to half the way across these maps with headsets if they're not running dead silence. The suppressors no longer make your guns sound like wet farts. They pop just like real life suppressors do, and they are loud, and you can be heard, and they will know where you are, and all the sort of ricocheting sounds. The sound team put a lot of work into this game, and they just decided we're going to make everything loud. So if you have headsets, use them. If you don't have them, you're going to need them. If you don't want to get sound whored, run dead silence. The sound whoring is real, ladies and gentlemen, and it is back. That's all for this commentary. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. This is my first impressions of Call of Duty Ghost and how I feel about it. And again, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.